So we're heading back down the shore. So I figured I'd do a video. Um, so the question or the title of the video is "Are you choosing to fail?" And this is more for myself. So I've talked about it in numerous, almost every video, where our closing rate is so low. And so anyway, I had a conversation with our salesperson. Again, she doesn't have really, can't say no experience because she's been doing this stuff for 6 months now. But I told her, I said, look, this is where, where you are. This is what the other actual salesperson did before he left. And like, it's no small change. Like she was at 10 point something percent. He's at 26%. And so I said, in my opinion, like it's basically your job and it's a sales trainer's job to figure this out. And which is true to an extent, but knowing that if we would fix the sales closing percent, if we get to the 15% where we should be, which is still low, that means there would be an additional like five to $700,000 in profit. But yet, have I, on a daily consistent basis, have I done any role plays with her? Have I went through the sales recordings for the other salesperson? Have I went through the recordings for this salesperson? And the answer is no. And like I keep on putting off the responsibility to other people, but at the end of the day, like this is my business. And the fact that I am continuing to allow this low percentage is literally taking money out of my pocket. And it's not any small chump change. It's like $50,000 a month. Like, think about it. And like, I think anyone would be like, for $50,000, they would listen to some call recordings and do some role plays because like it's not like it's going to be 40 hours a week. It's literally like probably an 45 minutes to an hour a day. So why am I not spending 5 hours a week trying to improve the sales, even though yes, I do pay someone to actually do it, but at the end of the day, like the buck stops here, right? And so my question is for the people that are watching this: what are you not doing that is stopping you from succeeding? Because at the end of the day, like we watch these videos and everything else because we swear there must be this small nugget of information that as soon as we had it, everything would drastically change. And that's true to an extent, maybe. Because once you have the mindset shift, which you talked about in another video, like once you know a better way, then it's kind of hard to go back. But even when we have the better way, we know what to do. We don't do it. Like it's frustrating, and I guess because it's an easy way out. I don't know what the answer is, but maybe someone can tell me. But it's what we deal with. And like, for me, like I said, my biggest hurdle right now is the sales and knowing that like I don't do anything else. For a lot of people, it's like most guys that I talk to, it's because they don't have enough leads, right? And when I talk to them, and knowing what I know now, like I've always talked about Google My Business and stuff like that, but knowing what I know now, like network marketing is as important, if not more important. But it's the same thing. I don't do it, right? And I talk to these people, and I'm like, look, if you want more leads, you need to find people that are in similar businesses that will refer businesses to you. So as a fence company, what are similar businesses? Obviously, number one is going to be realtors because people that just move into a house, they're more likely to spend more money now than they will for like the next 10 years, right? And but besides that, there's animal shelters, there is pool companies, there's things like that, right? And then it's reaching out to other people. Like I know personally that if I spent the time and talked to 5 people a day, or at least called 5 people a day, maybe talk to one a day, that within a month, like there's probably gonna be a halfway decent amount of business that we're gonna end up keep on generating. But again, I don't do it. And like because I'm on to the next thing. So right now we're building up the wholesale operations of this other division that we got going on, which there is a big chunk of money that can be made, 100%. But again, there's just as much. There's $500,000 sitting on the table just waiting to be taken if I would just do the role plays and shit. So And I don't know what the answer is. I think we just get too comfortable. I think with me, if I had just started the business and I was really, really struggling, or I think for me, like I always look back to see why I stuck within this business. Because, like, if you don't know the full story, so at the time when I first started the business, one, I didn't know fencing, right? So I worked for my uncle. He owns, at this point, he owns like 16 McDonald's. Back then, it was like 8. And I was a general manager, and then I ended up being like, they called it like a facility maintenance manager, but I basically just fixed shit. And so we had this tornado that came through. There was a post that broke, and I called the fence company. They told me it was $450 minimum in labor for this one post, and like 6 weeks to come out. Time I was broke, so I told my uncle like, "Hey, can I do it?" And said yes. And then I did that. So from there, I started advertising on Craigslist, and then kept on just build it up, right? But back then, and I think looking back to figure out why I stuck with it, because at the time I was still working 50 hours a week. At the time, my father-in-law was dying of cancer, right? And so what would happen is every morning I would leave the house at 7 o'clock in the morning. I'd have my son, which he's actually in the back seat, can't see him, but I'd have him. I would go pick up his grandmother. Okay. From there, I would drop my son off to school. Then I would drive into Philadelphia to drop off the grandmother, and then I would go to work. If I wasn't at work that day, then I would go do fencing for the day. But if I was working for the day, I would literally work from 8 o'clock, and then I would work until 5 o'clock. And then after that, I would do fencing. I would do quotes, I would install, I would do whatever I had to. And then, like, there was probably 2 days a week, maybe 3 days a week, that I would actually have to drive back into Philly. So I was leaving the house at 7 o'clock in the morning. I was not getting home till like 9, 10 o'clock at night every single day. But it wasn't Monday through Friday. It was every single day. Weekends, everything. Like if I was not at McDonald's, I was doing fencing, right? And I put in way more effort back then than I do now, right? And I know better now. Like before, the amount of effort, like think about if you're just starting your business now, like you don't really get this, but like if you've been doing business at any length of time, if you look at the shit that you used to do back in the day, the amount, like I'm very big into figure how much I'm making per hour. Back in the day, I was literally making like just say $20 an hour, maybe. Like, and there's probably some days where I was making literally a negative. Like I was paying the customer to be there because of all the mistakes and priced it wrong and like you name it. And, like if you own a business, like you know what I'm talking about. But now, and again, it's not bragging, but I probably make closer to $1,500 to $2,000 an hour just because I have other people working for me. But now I have all this extra time, which actually watching my daughter most of the time. But like, I could be putting in a lot of high leverage activities that can make me a shit ton of money. Then instead of making $1,500 to $2,000 an hour, like realistically, it could be $3,000 to $4,000 to $5,000 an hour that I could be making just because I would put in that effort. But I don't. Like I don't. Like it's crazy. Like I don't understand it. So I think my next thing I have to really get into is psychology because I need to find out why I'm not doing the things that I'm doing. Is what I think, right? Because again, I talk about it all the time. But if you're not following Alex Hormozi or Layla Hormozi on YouTube, like you're severely missing out. Alex is more of the like the business end of things, like the what I consider more of myself, whereas like the more of the high level thinking of putting the plans in place and stuff like that. Whereas his wife Layla is the person that is more of the operator in the business. So she's doing the day-to-day operations. She is building the culture, the like all that kind of stuff, right? And between the two of them, I'm telling you, the content that they give out. Now, a lot of it, yes, is geared towards more of like the internet marketing stuff and things aside of that. But if you take the mindset, the mentality that they talk about this stuff and apply it to your business, it's like nonstop gold. So it's not even a lack of information on my part. It's like just a lack of doing this shit. And I think it's just I'm too comfortable, right? And like I think that's why I really enjoy the winter time. I enjoy this winter wasn't like this, but like previous winters where like you don't have the phones ringing, right? But I still have all these employees to pay for and all the bills and everything else. Like that's when I kind of come alive and really get everything done. Like in 2 months, I'll get more done in 2 months, like in the January and the February, than I will for the entire year, simply because I have to. And at some point, like once you get to a certain level, like you don't have to anymore, and it's still finding that drive to do the business. And then I was actually at my grandmother's house today, and we were talking not so much about this, but just life in general. But I said, like, I don't want to work, right? And she's like, well, yeah, that makes sense because, like, unless you have the passion and everything else. And I'm thinking, like, I'm only doing the fencing for money. It's it's not survival anymore. It's like literally just to get paid. And I think that's where the issue lies because I just don't enjoy it. Like it's fencing. I don't give a shit about fencing. And like I tried to make it more about the employees and building the culture and stuff like that. But I also realized, and this is going to sound like horrible, but like the level that my employees are at compared to where I'm at, it's just two totally different things. So it's like I don't even relate to them. Their mindset and everything else, I just don't get it. And it's like I think part of the problem is like because I don't do the whole network marketing, I stick to myself for the most part. If I have an issue, I just figure it out. If I can find a YouTube video, great. But for the most part, I'm just doing it myself, right? And I think that's part of the problem. So maybe it's just I need to spend more time reaching out to other people, like-minded people. And I know other people, I just don't reach out to them for some reason. And I think it's because it's just socially awkward for myself. But then again, I'm here on YouTube videos, so like, I don't know, doesn't make any freaking sense. But anyway, so that's where I'm kind of at in life. But yeah, so what are you doing, or what are you not doing, and why are you not doing it, right? So because like at the end of the day, it's like I'm listening to another book, The Compound Effect, but it's the same shit I keep on hearing. Like you literally just have to do like the important shit. So like not playing on Netflix, not playing on the phone all day, like literally just doing the shit you're supposed to do on a consistent basis for like years. And you're pretty much guaranteed to be successful, especially because the more I look at it, like my son's 11 at now, is like because of the internet, because of social media, because of everything else like that, these kids are like gnats and like they have the attention span of zero. So this is what we're up against. And so if you can be consistent in your actions for any length of time, you're going to be so much further ahead of everyone else just because they're not willing to do it, right? And also with business owners as well is like a lot of times they are like you swear you're busy, but it's really are you busy or are you productive, right? Because they're two totally different things. Like today I was busy all day, but I got nothing done because of a stupid issue at a job site, and that boiled down to communication. So we're fixing that issue. But I spent like 4 hours of my time, but got nothing accomplished. Like I literally 4 hours I went to Lowe's to get some PVC fittings to fix the sprinkler system. Like that was my day. But I didn't get anything done. Like that's it, right? So that's where I'm kind of at. Like I don't know, like this long as two people have been on, I don't even know. I can't even see how this shit works. Oh no, more things looks like. Oh, there we go. I just found out like I never could see the things on there. So yeah, that's good. Yeah, so I don't know. It's what I'm kind of battling against. I guess if I find out the answer, I'll let you know. But it just comes down to just doing the boring shit consistently. And I think that's the hard part because, like, especially once you get to as you get further ahead in business, then the opportunities keep on coming, and it's hard to not go after those opportunities. It's like I always, and I think it's a mindset thing. Is like I knew I was going to be successful. Like I knew it was going to happen. I just didn't know how, and I just didn't know what to do. But I always said to myself, like, there's all this money in the world, like it's floating everywhere. It's like I just need a bigger net. But also that kind of thinking is probably not the best as well because then it's like a bigger net kind of means that more opportunities and that kind of thing. But I think it's just going after better opportunities, but realizing that I'm not going to get the payoff for like 3-5 years, which is pretty difficult for someone like myself because I want that instant gratification like everyone else. But again, that should make our lives easier. And just realized I talked for several minutes without taking a breath. So anyway, yeah, that's all I got for today, I think, until like I hang up and then I start live again in 2 seconds. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, let me know. If not, I'm going to head out and hopefully not get pulled over by a cop. So yeah, nothing. All right, well, I appreciate you guys staying on. It's definitely longer than normal, so that's awesome. Oh, Brandon, I saw you finally got your your Google My Business forever ago. How are you making out with your business? I'm curious to see. So if you don't answer through this, send me a message or something. Curious to see if you got everything off the ground because I know you had a lot of stuff going on in your personal life and whatnot. So last time I talked to you a few months ago. So just kind of curious. But yeah. So anyway, I guess I will talk to you guys whenever. And yeah, have a great night. I'll talk.